Subterranean Terror by White Bat Audio. You can find them on whitebataudio.com. Happy Halloween, everybody. My name is B-Show Brian J. I am here with the Otho to my Delia Deets, Mr. Benny Slash. Happy Halloween, man.
To you as well, my brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well now that we've got things set up, and I've got a glass of scotch. Is it scotch or is it bourbon? Scotch poured for tonight's special Halloween episode. What about you? What are you drinking?
Lemonade.
No grenadine?
I haven't gotten a bottle for the new house yet.
Well, maybe that'll be my housewarming present to you. just a Culligan tank of grenadine. What's up, everybody? We are Horror Reanimated. We're bringing you new spins, new life on the movies that you love and some that you don't like so much. We're talking about fan fiction. Sometimes we talk about scripts that were never made but have been talked about in film lore for generations. It feels really weird for me not doing a Halloween episode this week because Halloween is my favorite franchise. But I think we have something kind of fun in mind. And Benny, what are we talking about this week?
You know, I know we're only 2 weeks into this, but this show may get more bizarre as time goes on.
See, that's kind of the plan. It's like when you slowly ease your weird sexual proclivities onto someone. You really like them. You don't want to ruin the chances yet, so like you wait a couple months and then you slip something in. Not literally. But sorry, that took a weird turn. Can you take us back to family programming for a minute?
You can send all of you hate mail to
bshowbrian@gmail.com.
Yeah, I was hoping it was still the same.
I almost gave your work email.
So we are looking at different ideas for a modern recasting of Beetlejuice.
Yeah. People have been throwing around the idea of not just a Beetlejuice 2, but obviously anything that's made today has to be some form of a reboot, right? Like look at Halloween 2018. See, I got it in there. Somehow. But Halloween 2018 has been accused of being a soft reboot. Star Wars, The Force Awakens was, for all intents and purposes, a soft reboot of the franchise. So we would be naive to say, well, hey, if they did a Beetlejuice 2 nowadays, that it wouldn't be a soft reboot. So on another episode, we'll probably go into deeper detail about like ideas for reboots. I think we'll kind of brush on some of that, talking about these casting ideas. And another episode, we'll probably do a Beetlejuice 2, just talk about what that would look like in modern day, because it would face its own challenges. But yeah, this is really, really weird. I don't know if you grew up with this movie like I did, but just the thought of someone else playing Beetlejuice, it almost feels like when mom and dad split and one of them gets a new person to come into the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It could be fun, though.
Yeah, I think it will be. And when I just did a little bit of research this afternoon. I just went Google crazy, typing names in, just looking up new names, character actors. Because a lot of times you picture people, but you forget others that are really good, because a lot of character actors tend to blend in. And that is the nature of a character actor, is they lose themselves in a role, and for a movie they become the role. So sometimes you kind of forget who they are if you don't know them or aren't a direct fan. But yeah, man, I remember I was a kid and I know this isn't a traditional horror movie this week, but we wanted to do something a little different. And you know what? I'm pissed because this movie has not been on TV the whole Halloween season.
It was on, I think, Paramount 2 weeks ago.
Paramount? Okay, so which is the old Spike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched Paramount. Okay, so maybe that's on me. But no.
But that's the only time I've seen it lately.
Well, like I've been watching, obviously I've got kids, so I've been watching, Freeform, which used to be ABC Family. I've been watching AMC. I've been watching even like Disney. And again, this isn't a Disney podcast. Maybe we could do a dark Disney one down the road. But it's like I've not seen this movie at all this year. And it kind of had me pissed. So I'm kind of kicking myself now that I missed it. But I used to go to my aunt's house. My Aunt Sharon, super cool lady, respect her a great deal, love her very much. We used to go to her house when we were kids. My parents, I don't know if you would expect this from me, but my parents, like, they weren't religious, and they weren't, like, fundamentalists or anything like that, but they were the type of people that were super conscious of what people thought of them, appearance-wise. So, like, I wasn't allowed to wear a black T-shirt until I was in high school.
That's interesting.
It was like they always thought, oh, people are going to think you're satanic or gothic or whatever. And I understand as an adult now the idea of, like, not giving people those immediate reasons to prejudge you. But at the same time, there was a lot of room for, like, expression that I didn't have. And I remember I used to go to my aunt's house as a kid, and every time I went there, even though I was like 3, 4, 5, I remember asking, can I watch Beetlejuice? Can I watch Beetlejuice? And my parents would get so pissed because they would let me watch all sorts of crazy shit. But, like, if it came to Tim Burton stuff, for some reason, that was, like, really off limits. And, I rediscovered it as a kid growing up, and just everything from the music to the characters to the writing, the jokes. It's not necessarily a kid's movie, although it's showed on some kids' stations, but it's... I don't know. It's one of those movies that's really near and dear to my heart, and glad we get to talk about it on this show, even though it's not technically a horror film.
No, absolutely.
Would you consider it a horror film or a black comedy?
Yes.
Yes, I love that answer. I guess
it's kind of like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
That's okay. So now the debate would be which one is closer to the comparison. Is Die Hard closer to being a Christmas movie that Beetlejuice is closer to? You know what I mean? Which one is closer to the mark here? Oops.
I say yes for both of them. So.
All right. Well, I'm not going to bore everyone with my childhood stories, but let's see. Talking about Beetlejuice, just to give the rundown a little bit. Obviously, the movie came out in 1988. It was a surprise hit, and for 30 years, the idea of a sequel has been kicked around. The Beetlejuice 2, actually, after the success of the original movie, Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian was greenlit.
I was just going to say, weren't they trying to go tropical?
Yes, and we will cover that on a future episode of Horror Reanimated. So, there we go. We got 4 episodes, including this one, and yours truly was worried about having enough material to last. So,
right.
But anyway, so that movie got canceled. The idea has been shelved, and every few years, Winona Ryder and Tim Burton and others kind of bring up the idea and talk about doing it, but it never gets done. And Tim Burton said a year or so ago, it's pretty much done. It's not going to happen. So this podcast will probably be, other than the Beetlejuice stage play, the closest you will get to seeing a new Beetlejuice movie or experiencing a new Beetlejuice film. So for more of this, stay tuned, and thank you for joining us. You can follow Mr. Positive on Twitter at Benny_slash and on Instagram at Benny/777. And you can follow me or the show through me on Twitter and Instagram, both at BShowBrian, all one word. So if you have any questions or suggestions or comments, anything to add or detract, I guess, you can email us at bshowbrian@gmail.com. So, you ready to do the impossible, the unthinkable, try to recast Beetlejuice?
Absolutely.
All right, man. Obviously, got to give immediate credit to Michael Keaton. He was very... people did not expect him to knock that role out of the park. He had been, kind of a family man role type thing. Had he done Overboard yet? Or is that Kurt Russell?
That's Kurt Russell.
It was Mr. Mom. I'm sorry. Mr. Mom was the one before this. And people didn't really have faith that he could do it, but he ended up putting in, one of the performances of a lifetime, I think. And if he had done only this movie, he would still be remembered as, as one of the great roles of that time. But
absolutely.
So when you were giving it thought, what came to mind for you? Did you keep within like the vein of comedic? Did you go psychotic? Because the original script had Beetlejuice as more of a demon. He was a little bit more demonic, a mischievous demon.
I had all sorts of bizarre ideas.
Well, let's crack this bitch open, and I want to hear your ideas.
Well, in keeping with the slightly insane guy who just happened to have also played Batman, let's start with Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I think with partially because I like the little thing that you've got two guys that both played Batman. Plus, I don't always think that it was necessarily intentional, but some of those scenes in American Psycho were both psychotic and unintentionally hilarious at the same time.
You know, when you first said Christian Bale, I was like, he's a good actor, but I don't know. Everything he'd done has been, a lot really serious, but now you mentioned American Psycho, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that would definitely... It would be interesting at the very least.
Yeah, because he has the quality almost like, what's his name? Like a Michael Keaton has, where he's a clean-cut... He can be a clean-cut looking guy, but then completely transform himself. Like, what was the movie with... What was the boxing movie during... Was it the Depression? No, not the Depression.
I know what you're talking about, too.
But yeah, he was like the Contender or something. Like he was the brother.
Yeah, that's it. The Contender. Good job.
Like he was the junkie brother of the like he was a boxer or something and was a junkie, and like almost like him and Joaquin Phoenix, which I didn't even think about for this, to be honest with you.
I didn't either until just now.
But both of those guys can like seem to transform themselves physically for roles in just a way that's uncanny and seems unhuman or inhuman.
No, absolutely.
That'd be pretty nice. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, like I think if you're gonna go psychotic Beetlejuice, like you go Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, that's not a terrible idea. I never, for whatever reason, I hadn't thought of that until just now. But
have you seen The Joker yet? I know we talked about it last week.
No, I haven't had a chance.
If anyone who's listening who hasn't seen The Joker yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you got to go see it. It is truly a masterpiece, and it is worth every second of hype, as is your kitty that just crossed the screen.
Yeah.
But I won't go into detail, but not only in The Joker, not to spoil anything, but not only was Joaquin Phoenix very funny in certain scenes, but also, crossed that line between absolutely psychotic and also the black comedy in between. So, when I think of Beetlejuice, obviously I go back to Michael Keaton, and you and I listened to some music beforehand to kind of get in the mood, but he's like a one-man marching band. It's just this frenetic energy, this explosive, like bouncing, crazy, maniacal energy. As I don't know if you can see, but I'm kind of bouncing in my seat here thinking about it.
I cannot, actually.
And I think Joaquin Phoenix could match that. And I kind of broke down these into two categories when I was Googling. One would be comedic and one would be psychotic. One person I thought of for some reason was Peter Dinklage.
That's an odd thing. I never thought of that either.
Because he's like when you think about black comedy or not black comedy. Imagine Medea. I know, I seen it. I seen it with my own two eyes.
I love those movies.
I know, me too. But yeah, Peter Dinklage, man. Just the stature alone, and I'm not to be disparaging, but like I went to go see Brad Williams, a comedian, a dwarf, but very funny. I went to go see him live, and very funny, and it is off-putting in a sense, or at least seeing someone that small with such energy. And Peter Dinklage is a guy who he's like 3 feet tall, but the way he carries himself, he's like 9'6". So
right.
That to me, when I think of, it's not just about being a great character actor. Like it's got to be someone who is explosive in their personality and exudes out of their own being. And I think he kind of has that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think that would be a good idea. Um, one of the other people I thought of, and this just borders on the insane, Macaulay Culkin.
Wow, Macaulay Culkin. You're swinging for the fences, man.
Oh, I told you, I when we talked about this earlier off air, I told you that I have some insane ideas. They only get crazier from here, Brian.
Man, Macaulay Culkin. He has like that damaged ex-child star. Like he's super intelligent, but has that damaged ex-child star baggage that would make him perfect for this sort of role.
Absolutely. Just crazy enough for it to work. One of the other more insane ideas of mine, Crispin Glover.
I hear you. I'm letting you expound.
Oh,
Sorry.
Again, the is can be at least humorous, but have you seen Willard?
Not completely, and I don't want to be one of those guys who hasn't seen it and goes, "Oh yeah, not the whole thing." But I have seen certain scenes of it. Like there's one, I don't know, one of the scenes where he like calls the army of rats forward. He may be in a basement or at an elevator, but yeah, I know his performance was disturbing for sure.
It was wonderful. I love that movie.
And he's also one of those guys that can be funny too. Like, and if you whether it's he played what was his name in Friday the 13th, the final chapter?
Oh,
I'm a dead fuck, Ted. Put that in your computer. But no, he was able to play so many different roles. He's like this kind of nerdy guy lucking out with the girls who then scores with one of the Doublemint twins. Then and obviously Back to the Future playing Marty McFly. Oh, not Marty McFly. George McFly.
Yep.
And then he was what, the king? Was he the king of hearts or spades or something in the live action remake of Alice in Wonderland, was it?
Yeah, I believe he was.
Yeah, so that was him. Yeah, he was in love with Big Alice.
Also a Tim Burton film.
Yeah. So there's obviously a connection to Tim Burton already. He's already kind of in the universe. And he's also a very intelligent guy. Like I know there's some people say he's crazy or weird. And
he's a little off his rocker.
He is. But then like some of those people, like I heard him on not Opie and Anthony, it's Jim Norton and Sam
Roberts.
Yeah. And he was talking about a lot of that stuff, and I think he's one of those guys that is just like really intelligent and I think misunderstood and doesn't fit in, which I can, not the intelligent part, but the not fitting in and misunderstood. I think I think we can all kind of, align with in some ways. But yeah, man, that's a great pick. I'm going to go psychotic for a minute.
If you do, you're going to clean it up.
Bryan Cranston.
It's funny you say that, and I'll explain why in a minute. Continue.
No, go ahead.
Well, because one of my thoughts was Jonathan Banks.
I don't know who that is.
The guy that played Mike on Breaking Bad.
Okay. See, I'm one of those weird people that lived under a rock and never watched. Oh, okay. I see. I know who that is. For those of you who don't know, he's the older guy. What was his character in Breaking Bad? What did he do?
Mike Ehrmantraut. He was the kind of the fixer. He was the things go wrong, you send Mike with a crowbar.
Gotcha. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to add a window because I am recording this. I might put it up on YouTube. So for those of you watching, what's his name?
Jonathan Banks.
Excuse me. Hopefully no one pops us for copyright. But all right, so scene. Let's see, window capture. Where's Google Chrome? All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, so Jonathan Banks. For those of you who can see. There we go. So for those of you who can see, that's Jonathan Banks.
But in the same thing, I think the combination of kind of being a tough, kind of psychotic guy, but at the same time had throughout the show had great, almost Carlin style, sarcastic, dry humor.
So if you had a scale of comedy versus, someone who's psychotic, he would lean more toward the psychotic with a sense of humor as opposed to the funny but psychotic.
Right. There was one of my favorites was I think there was somebody that I'm trying to remember how they did them wrong, but this lady did them wrong in some way, shape, or form. And so they decide that they're gonna silence her. And he goes to her and he goes, "You're not going to scream. If you scream, I'm going to take my pistol and shoot you in the face. You're not going to run away. If you run away, I'm going to pull out my pistol and I'm going to shoot you in the face." And there were about 6 other scenarios. And the same result. And the last one was, you're going to tell us something along the lines of, you're going to tell us everything that we need to know. Because if you don't, what's going to happen?
I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Take your gun and shoot me in the face. It's a pistol.
So that type of, so almost like Frasier level idiosyncratic.
Yeah, but at the same time, kind of a curmudgeonly old guy too.
Gotcha.
Well, I think that's slightly important in the Beetlejuice thing.
Some age on him?
Not necessarily the age part, but the curmudgeon part.
Yeah, so kind of cranky, cantankerous.
Yeah. I don't like you and I want you out of these people's house.
Right. Like you don't need to talk to Barbara. That type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. But no, I was talking about, what was it, Bryan Cranston?
Yeah.
That dude, for some reason, seems like he can play almost anything.
Including Zordon.
Oh, I forgot. Was that in the remake?
Yeah.
Was he any good? I mean, obviously it's Bryan Cranston, so probably.
I watched part of it for the first time. It was on like USA or something about a month ago. And I didn't get to watch all of it, but what I watched wasn't bad.
Speaking of USA, what an unsung hero for the days of like 80s and 90s horror as we roll through Halloween season. Just a little sidebar.
Absolutely.
Do you remember like either the Friday night or Saturday morning horror blocks that they used to show during either Halloween or Friday the 13th?
Not as well on USA.
Yeah, I want to say the first horror movie I ever watched that I remember. Like, I remember when I was a kid, like my dad did the thing where, maybe this is why they didn't let me watch horror movies, because I was scarred from a young age. But my dad, for some reason, there was this. Do you remember when the local like ABC channels would do like the Saturday afternoon movie? And it would be like a double feature.
Absolutely.
Well, they did Creepers or Phenomena and An American Werewolf in London. And I remember it was around Halloween time. I remember being so small, I really didn't understand the movies. And my dad, I had my back to the TV while my dad was watching it, and we were playing with this little racetrack on the floor. So I was that small. And I was kind of freaked out by some of the shit that I saw. But then, like, the first one I really watched and knew what was going on was Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning. That's the imposter Jason.
Yeah.
So, like, I was kind of confused because I didn't understand it, but, like, I was, like, 4 or 5. I was fucking petrified. And it was USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. Do you remember Rhonda Shear?
No, I do, but for different reasons than you do.
Oh no, that's why you remember Rhonda Shear. That was my my introduction to, what is it, Blood and Boobs?
Something like that. I was thinking when she was involved in some WrestleMania, wasn't she?
Rhonda Shear?
Yeah.
She might have been.
Yeah, because I remember somebody telling a story about, I think it was Burt Reynolds not wanting to have anything to do with her.
Oh, you might be right. You might be right.
And then got mad. Then when it came up, they were told that, and then next thing the guy knows, they're in the back just being all super friendly and happy with each other.
Burt Reynolds is the fucking man, dude.
You see my name there? That's not my name.
It's Turd Ferguson. Wearing a big hat. It's funny because it's big. Yeah, dude, they don't make people like Burt Reynolds anymore. Anyway, long story long, my first introduction was part 5, and I just wanted to shout out USA for... They used to have some balls and show these movies. And then I also remember being like... I was at the hospital. My grandma was in the hospital one time, and Saturday the 14th, we're watching TV, and after she let me watch Superstars of Wrestling on her little... You know the TVs that used to be on like a boom arm or a crane arm that used to come over the bed? You could pull them over.
I do.
Well, I was watching Superstars of Wrestling, and then they were going to take us down to the cafeteria. And right after that, an ad for Friday the 13th marathon came on, and I just remember Jason with that giant brush cutter. Oh my God, from part 7.
Yes, I love a good brush cutter.
Oh man, I want to get one of those with a giant buzzsaw on it. Anyway, we're way the hell off track.
We would never do that.
No, but you know what? I don't mind it so much because with Beetlejuice not being a straight horror film, I think we can sprinkle in a little bit of real horror in the middle there. But yeah, Bryan Cranston, I mean, no discussion needed there. He's just the man. And another psychotic one. And then I'll get to the comedic ones, which is a little more fun. Willem Dafoe.
That's an idea.
To me, Willem Dafoe he might be my... I don't know if my number one choice, but that's a dude who is an incredible, transformative actor who checks a lot of those boxes, man.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's another one of them ideas there.
And how tenured is that dude? I mean, he's been going for 40 years now, 50 years,
something like that. Yeah, ridiculously long.
In fact, we talked about the Joker. I would love to see him play the Joker.
Yeah?
2 people that I would love to see play the Joker, him and Mark Hamill as like the old Joker from Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. I want to see him. I want to see Mark Hamill just do the "Hello, Batman," that type of shit, like live action. I think the closest we came is Cockknocker.
Yeah, I watched that. We watched that the other night.
Jan Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
I think we did an episode where we talked about Cockknocker for like a half hour. Was that me and Andy one time?
Knowing all of us, it could have been both.
So the answer again is yes. But
yes.
I'll give you the floor, man. I just powered through like 3 of them in a row.
Harvey Keitel.
Oh, Harvey Keitel?
That's, again, everything from, Reservoir Dogs and the like to
Pulp Fiction. Red
Little
Dragon.
Nicky, well, he was the devil.
What's that? Little Nicky? Yeah.
He was the devil when he was the contractor for Ben Stiller's house in the third Meet the Parents movie.
Well, that's obscure.
Have you met me?
Yes.
Obscure is what I do.
And America has as well. That's Mr. Benny Slash on bass.
And whatever other 17 things I play.
Soon to be organ.
I play that already. I'm getting one.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah, he's another guy who's got some miles on him. See, the other thing though that I worry about when I talk about some of these older cats is I mentioned the energy that Michael Keaton had, and that's why when people talk about Beetlejuice 2 and they talk about Michael Keaton reprising the role, I respect the hell out of Michael Keaton. I don't doubt him and his abilities. He's done a great job. What movie was he in? Birdman?
That movie was bizarre, and I loved every second of it.
I never saw it, but I heard he was fantastic in Birdman, and so again, I don't want to disparage him and say he couldn't do it, but like, I'm not saying Beetlejuice, the character, if you do reboot or do a sequel with somebody else, I'm not saying Beetlejuice itself, the character has to have that energy. But if Michael Keaton is coming back to play Beetlejuice, you expect that kind of energy, and I just don't know if a 60-year-old man has it in him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I understand that.
Like even Kurt Russell, I mentioned Kurt Russell before. Kurt Russell has a great sense of timing, but you're not going to expect him to reprise any of his, like Snake Plissken, and be at the top of his game in 2019.
It's understandable, makes sense.
So, and again, not an ageism thing, but it just, there's a certain energy that he carried and brought to that character. I just don't know if it would really work out. Harvey Keitel is a different story, because if you put a Harvey Keitel, a Willem Dafoe, a Bryan Cranston in those situations, they're older guys, but they're not Michael Keaton, so they're not bound to like that same universe and set of rules. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And speaking of a bizarre amount of energy, Paul Rubens.
Oh, man, you are swinging for the fences tonight.
I told you my ideas were insane.
Damn. So you've got like Christian Bale, Harvey Keitel,
Macaulay Culkin, Jonathan Banks, Pee Wee Herman.
Damn. All right, expound upon Pee Wee for a minute, because that's just too perfect.
Well, obviously, we know he's got the comedy deal. He was great when he was the one vampire in the Buffy movie.
Dude, I saw that movie when I was younger.
And he died for like 7 straight minutes.
I had no idea until, I swear to God, 6 months ago, that he played the vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
But then also at the same time, I don't know if you have seen this, but he was also the Penguin's dad in Gotham.
Yes, and I want to say the mom was somebody else, and I don't remember who.
Carol Kane.
Carol Kane. Okay, yeah.
From Taxi.
Oh, shit, Carol Kane. I mean, she was Have Fun Storming the Castle. She was Billy Crystal's wife in The Princess Bride. Yep. She was the grandma in
the Addams Family movies.
The second one, the Addams Family Values. And I don't know, she's had some good roles, but I remember her most for, she was the the Ghost of Christmas Present in Scrooged.
Yeah, she hit Bill Murray with a toaster.
Oh my God, what a fan! Again, speaking of, and not to opine for those young bucks listening to this show, to be the old guys to go, they don't make movies like that anymore. That scene, the physical comedy.
They don't make movies like that anymore, Brian.
They don't. That physical comedy between Bill Murray and Carol Kane. Like, if you're a comedic actor and you want to, like, not over the top physical comedy like Chris Farley to where it's like way too much. Like, if you want just good physical interaction between two characters and it's just a riot for 8 or 10 minutes, watch that scene in Scrooged where she has like the little floaty flying thing and he leans in and she just kicks him in the nuts or punches. Oh my God, what a fantastic film.
My favorite too is right immediately after she hits him with the toaster. he just goes up and just, she hit me with a toaster.
Or like when he hits her back, it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's so bizarre. She's nailing him and he blocks a shot to the nuts again. Oh,
now,
man.
This is a quick thought that I never had before until just now. But could we do it with Bill Murray?
Oh, I think you could, except you run the risk of him like shitting on it the whole way through, which could be fun.
True.
But, and you mentioned Carol Kane, Paul Rubens. Paul Rubens, man. That dude's got a tough past. Had some shit.
Absolutely.
The sad thing was he got busted later on for some real kind of funky stuff, but lost most of his career for some stupid shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was the weird thing. Like sometimes people get busted for things and you're like, oh man, they're so bad. That's a bad break, you know? And then like years later they get busted for something and you're like, maybe that's karma. Maybe it's the universe taking care of itself. But Paul Rubens, man, another very underrated actor. He was an FBI agent in Matilda. He was.
I don't remember that.
What was his name? Something Friend in Blow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He was the dude that hooked up Johnny Depp's character. And what was his name? Johnny Depp's character. George Jung. Yeah, George Jung.
He was just on George Jung, not Johnny Depp.
I was gonna say you got to clarify.
Was actually just on the Drew and Mike show podcast a couple weeks ago.
Are they? Not to sound morbid, but is Mike Clark still alive?
No,
that's right. He died a year or two ago, right?
Almost exactly a year ago. They actually did a 3-hour best of special last week.
That dude made that show. I know. Okay, this is going to take it to a regional base for about 30 seconds, but I just want to shout out Drew and Mike. Dudes were legends in Detroit. Detroit morning radio for years. And Mike Clark was a fixture. That voice, the laugh, just funny. Just funny dude.
Absolutely wonderful.
But who are we talking about? Johnny Depp or Paul Rubens or George Jung?
Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens. Again, yeah. Just yeah. It's just too good.
Are you gonna give the special answer or am I?
Hang on. I thought you were gonna ask me if I could do Pee Wee Herman as Beetlejuice.
Oh, you probably could.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I used to be able to do a really good Pee Wee Herman. I know a lot of people say that, but I have audio proof somewhere that I could show you. I used to do a really good Pee Wee Herman. I don't know if I could do Pee Wee Herman as Beetlejuice though. I had to think of a line. Attention Kmart shoppers. And to see that, I can't do it anymore. I don't know if I have it in me. I
heard it though.
I gotta binge like all the.
It was kind of in the vein of, well, good for you and your father.
I know you are, but what am I? There we go. I don't make monkeys. I just train them. That was a little bit off, but you get the idea. Anyway, you know what was your thought? Because I think we're both going to the same spot here.
In what's now I'm worried is going to be a fixture. What about David Spade?
No, that's not where I was going, but I'm liking it. David Spade? Hey man. Hey man, I don't care what happens here. I just want to crack at your daughter. Like to me, David Spade, and I'm talking the character, not the actual guy here. David Spade could play that character and just hit the sleazy aspect, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
Oh man, because did we mention at the top of the show that she was 16?
I don't believe we did.
Yeah, maybe that was me going through my mental notes before, but let's not forget. There was a creepy aspect to Beetlejuice because Lydia Dietz was like 16.
That's true.
So, and he was trying to marry her to get out and all that stuff, and made some passes at her. So, I could see David Spade really getting into like that because he always plays those good sleazy roles, as we talked about last week with Ash versus Jason. If you hadn't listened to that, go to bshowpodcast.com. That'll take you to the Spreaker page. Oh, by the way, we are now on iTunes. We're on Spreaker. We're on Podcast Addict.
Woohoo!
We're pretty much everywhere. Spotify. We're on Spotify now. We're on iHeartRadio.
Woo!
So there's no fucking excuse, you goddamn losers, for not downloading our show.
Well, there is one now.
That's all right. They love it. No, we love you. Anyone who checks out our show and shows us some love. My buddy Drew Yari. I know John Draper's been sharing some of the posts I've been putting up. But anyone who checks out the show, let us know, man. Drop us a line and let us know. And if you like the show, remember, if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening elsewhere, the algorithms have changed. The rules have changed. They benefit big companies. So not only me, but your favorite podcaster and YouTuber would appreciate you subscribing and sharing your favorite episodes, because it helps us in a way that we can't help ourselves anymore. So thank you very much for hanging with us. I'm just teasing about the you dipshits thing or whatever the fuck I said. I don't remember. But yeah, you can find us anywhere, really. So, and like I said, we're on YouTube and everywhere you find podcasts. So whatever device you're on, unless you're on a Huawei phone. I know Podcast Addict is Android only, iTunes is iTunes. What does Huawei have?
I have no idea.
Is it just?
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's the Chinese-made phones that were accused of stealing stuff, and they can't be sold in the U.S. now.
Oh, I have no idea.
They were really the linchpin to all this. I'm not going to get political, but anyway. No, I thought you were going to say Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah, no.
Talk about a character actor kind of fallen on some hard times over the past few years. Was vindicated as wrongfully accused. Here's one. Cheers for the men. Wrongfully accused of some heinous shit from Amber Heard, his ex-wife. Then again, dude, when you're that old, you got that much money, you got to be more careful with who you're laying down with.
Absolutely.
But on a non-personal note, a fantastic actor. Obviously, he has the history with Tim Burton, if that matters anything.
Absolutely. I just had an idea that wasn't one of the earlier psychotic ideas.
Okay.
That just kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't know how well it would work, but it would at least be interesting. Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton. That name I know. I'm going to look him up.
David Puddy from Seinfeld. The Tick in The Tick.
What the... that okay, hang on. You're going to have to explain that one. Because he's a funny...
Like I said, I said I didn't know that it would be great, but it would be interesting.
He's a funny guy, but what the fuck?
Again, it's the combination of being the funny guy with the little bit of the curmudgeon, with a little bit of the doesn't put up with stuff, and just let me do this the way I'm going to do this.
Hey, you want to get rid of these people?
Right.
You got to do what I tell you to do.
Did you see him in The Tick?
No, I saw... Okay, I'll be honest. I saw, like, I don't know, an episode or two. There he is. There he is. It's The Tick. I wish you could see that.
I love... Granted, I've been a Tick fan since before it was a cartoon show, but...
How long ago was that out? Was that after The Critic?
I don't know.
Because I feel
like it was about the same time.
I'm showing my age here, but The Critic was a great show.
Actually, if you want to talk about great shows around that time, you can never see and watch enough Duckman.
Oh, Duckman's fantastic.
Costanza's great in that.
Oh my god! No, the whole show. I mean, yeah. What's his name? Jason Alexander's fantastic, but the whole show was great. Again, if you want another like good, really weird, like dark comedy, check out Duckman. That show was, oh my god. That I don't want to say it was South Park before it was South Park, but it was one of those animated shows that just was really good. Before it became a commonplace thing.
Absolutely. And all the different ways that he would mutilate his stuffed assistants.
Well, like, if you think about those shows, not to get too off topic, but, like, what did you really have in the animated space at that time for adults? You had The Critic, you had Simpsons, and you had Duckman.
Was Dr. Katz around that time?
And Dr. Katz.
That was a fun one. I always liked that one.
So, all right, we're moving on here. You were Patrick Warburton. All right, I'm going to go comedic because I've done a couple like really psychotic ones, and we're getting short on time here. The idea was to keep this podcast to about a half hour so we could try to find time for like a wrestling version of this. It ain't fucking happening. So I'm going to go comedic, and this guy would probably be my front runner. Like for all the names we've talked about tonight, this guy would probably be my front runner. Alan Tudyk.
I can see that.
For those of you who don't know, let me pull him up here. This dude has been
Steve the Pirate.
Yes, Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball. He was what was his name in A Knight's Tale? I mean, this dude's been around for a long time.
Tucker.
Was that Tucker and Dale versus Evil? Yeah, he's been everything. I have kids that watch Disney. This dude is in everything. He was what's the chicken in Moana? Hey.
Something like that.
Yes, he's the chicken in Moana. He's like one of the dukes in Frozen. This dude has been in everything. He's KTSO in Rogue One, which is probably my second or third favorite Star Wars movie.
I enjoyed it as well.
He can do anything. He's got comedy, serious acting chops, great timing. And again, probably my front runner if I had to name anybody to be Beetlejuice that wasn't Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I it's one of those I hadn't thought of, but I could totally see.
What else you got, man?
What about, again, part energy, part, can be real different, mostly known for comedy, though. What about Jim Carrey?
Wow, I don't know how that fell like completely off my radar.
Because you can even mix in the physical overacting in it as well.
Yeah, because he does tend to be a little over the top, but I mean, isn't that kind of part of what makes Beetlejuice Beetlejuice?
That's what I was just about to say. You're looking for over the top at this point.
Man, what's the last big movie he did too?
Wow, what's the one about from the teen book series?
Oh, I don't know. Was it Mr. Popper's Penguins or some weird shit like that?
No, after that. There's some
31, 13 numbers.
The number 23 was I thought that was a great movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's a weird movie, but I truly enjoyed it. But no, there was some. It was some like one of those. It's one of those weirdly animated things, and it was like one of those like teen book sensations.
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea what you're talking about. Oh shit! I'm still recording video. It's probably like 60 gigabytes on my hard drive. But no,
I can't remember, but I think that was the last. I can look.
Jim Carrey, man, that's another great option. See, look, I came up with all these weird, like, all these crazy names, and here you are, just crushing it, man. What do you think about Steve Buscemi?
That would be bizarre. I like it.
Like, okay, not to be mean, because the dude, from what I've read and gathered, this dude is like one of the greatest dudes ever. Looks a little bit off. He's got that off-putting look. Strange looking cat. Okay, veteran actor, great character actor, but also great like acting chops. So to him, if it's not Alan Tudyk, he's one of those like top front runners for like checks all of those boxes.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, I was very wrong in terms of year. A series of unfortunate events was the thing I was thinking about.
Okay.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh,
5 years ago.
gross. Yeah, was not a fan of that one. That was not a swinging hit. Okay, I thought about this for about half a second before like ditching it. No females really came to mind other than one or two. And it's not that there's not good character, female comedians out there. It's not that there's not good character actors out there that are females.
I just had a weird idea when you said that.
Okay, hang on to that.
But yeah, go ahead.
To me, it came down to the whole, and again, this isn't a sexist thing, because I do have one on my list that I think could be really great. But to me, this whole notion, okay, let me just clear the air. This whole notion of like, hey, there's a guy character and it's really successful and it makes a lot of money. It's time for a female version. Like, no, fucking slow that shit down. There was someone last week blogging about how it's finally time for a female Joker. It's like, yes, because the Joker is wildly successful and making a shitload of money. Isn't that just like a woman? A man makes something really fucking successful and they don't want to do something on their own. They just want to come take it for themselves.
That's bshowbrian@gmail.com.
Isn't that what's wrong with like the whole like divorce system too? Come on. It goes back to that for me, and I'm happily married, kind of.
That's bshowbrian@gmail.com. And I may have to call Andy and see if we can still get that lawyer.
No, it's like, his mom retired. But hang on, hear me out here. To me, we need a female Joker. You fucking got one. Her name's Harley Quinn. She's probably one of the top 5 most popular comic book characters right now. I'm not even talking popular female characters. I'm talking top 5 popular characters. You got the female Joker. She's about to lead the Birds of Prey and crush the box office. That is your female Joker. I mean, am I wrong?
Not entirely, but I'm staying out of this.
Okay, let me throw an olive branch here because I know I'm coming off really ignorant, and I know I've got some friends who may listen to the show that are female. If someone came to me and saw the movie Aliens and said, we need a male Ripley, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. Aliens is a great thing. Ripley's a great character. If you want a female Ripley, you've got fucking Predator.
If you want a female Ripley, you have Ripley.
I'm sorry, if you want a male Ripley, I've had a few too many scotches tonight. But my point is, if you want a male Ripley, you've got Schwarzenegger in the jungle fighting an alien in the movie Predator. Do you really need a male Ripley? No, because you've got Predator. That movie's great. Ripley's great in Alien and Aliens and Aliens and you leave it alone. You leave it go. You let it be. So to me, that's why when I started thinking of this, I immediately recoiled from it. Like, and again, it's not a sexist thing. I think there could be come up with a great character, one that resonates, one that's successful. Is there shitty stuff that goes into Hollywood? Absolutely. Are there movies that probably didn't get made because women wrote them or wanted to direct them? Absolutely. Whether it's male or female, I'm not a fan of taking something and going, we need this version of that. If that's the case, then make a different character based off of that. I mean, what's the black comic series that did that in the mid-90s? It's not Image Comics.
Oh, I don't know.
They did a really good episode on the secret history, Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics.
I loved that show.
Like Static Shock came out of that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about too. I just can't think of what the.
It's not Image Comics. God damn it! Now I can't think of it. I'm trying to make my points.
Hang on.
Oh man, I know you'll be able to find this out while I wrap this up. But it's DC now. But fuck, can't find it. Milestone Comics.
Yep, I was just about to say that.
So to me, that's my excuse. Like Milestone Comics said, we need a Superman, or we need a Batman, or we need a this, or a Flash, or a Hulk. We need that for black audiences. They didn't say, we want a black Superman. They went out and they made their own, and it was a wildly successful comic line that it ended up being picked up by DC. So to me, it's not about male, female, black, white, whatever. It's these are established characters. Come up with your own. There are some that exist, like in the whole Joker thing. Like Birds of Prey is probably going to crush it at the box office, and it should, because Harley Quinn is a great character. That is the Joker, the female Joker. So having said that, and a lot of people probably just closed out and unsubscribed. Allison Janney.
That's wonderful.
And let me put her picture up for those, because some people might not know who she is. She's another one of those, like...
I only know her from Mom.
Yeah, she was Mom in Mom. The starfish in Finding Nemo. She was the guidance counselor in 10 Things I Hate About You. I'm trying to think of what other role she was in. She's another one of those Hollywood actresses, that has had just a great... just a great resume, and she's a great actress, and she, I don't know, man, just fits. And again, it's hard to find that, because maybe I'm typecasting it, because when I think of the role, I think of the energy and all that stuff. I don't know. I think she'd be good for it, but again, I don't know if it'd be a great fit. We'll see.
Very well could be.
What about you? You got anything else?
I don't know why I think this, but it has potential to, again, at least be entertaining. What about Roseanne?
Oh my God. I've said it a million times tonight. You are swinging for the fences. Wow. Okay, that is a great marketing move. Okay, let me take off my film fan hat and put my businessman hat on for a second. That is great marketing. Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Thank you.
Man, that is okay. I'm not trying to sound insulting here. That may be the smartest thing I've ever heard you say.
Hey.
Fucking Roseanne as Beetlejuice. Oh my God, that's too perfect. I take back the entire, like, the male diatribe I just went on 5 minutes ago. Fucking Roseanne. Not literally fucking Roseanne. I mean Roseanne. Man. She's crazy. A little damaged. A little unhinged. But funny as shit.
Exactly, it works. I just had another just completely left field idea.
Okay.
Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi?
Jim Belushi.
I want to like your idea. I've heard a lot of bad shit about the guy. So
they don't always go.
It taints my opinion.
Untainted.
Jim Belushi. I don't know. He was okay. Like, I saw him in the reboot of Twin Peaks. He was like some casino owner guy. He was okay. He did the Soul Man show. Turner and Hooch. I don't know, man. John Belushi. Now, if John Belushi was still alive.
True.
If we could go back, what was the show we used to do? The Wrestling Multiverse. If we could do like the Rick and Morty shit and go to an alternate universe where John Belushi got clean, but not too clean to where he's still funny and had his edge to him. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, John Belushi would be fucking fantastic. Here's a factoid for those of you listening on Halloween. John Belushi was originally written to be in Ghostbusters. He died.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yes, he died, and to include him, they came up with the character of Slimer. So the character of Slimer was essentially written as the ghost of John Belushi to include him in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I was unaware of that.
You're enthralled, I can tell. Okay, let me wrap this up because we've done an hour so far, and that's twice as long as we intended to go. But hey, we're having fun. Let's see. I also thought of one off the cuff. If we can go back in the time machine, what about Joan Rivers back in the day? Like in her prime, Joan Rivers.
I can see that.
Joan Rivers was fucking off the wall, would say anything to be funny. Literally one of the funniest human beings on the planet at some point. And also, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say kind of grisly to look at it toward the end, but that was the plastic surgery thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. And again, wrapping this up, what about Paul Rudd?
I can see that. I can see that not being terrible.
Especially after like the comedy chops that he showed in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Really talented dude. Here's another.
But at the same time, had that other comedic thing where he was. I always forget the name of the movie, but when he was fighting with the lady at Starbucks about the size of the cup, the name of the sizes of the cups.
That's my spirit animal.
Mine too.
I've actually had that conversation, and not like to the dickhead point like her, but like I've actually gone into a Starbucks and been like, I just want the small. She'd be like, well, do you mean the tall? I'm like, but isn't tall big? And she's like, no, tall is small. I'm like, ma'am, my good ma'am, I am tall. I've never been called small in my life. How does this make sense? And they think of being an asshole, and I'm just like, no, I'm just trying to understand this so I can come in and speak your fucking Aramaic language the next time I come in, so I can get my fucking coffee.
At some point, I've had to say, I want you to turn around and pour my hot cider in the largest cup you're willing to give me.
Do you just bring in like a beer stein and have him fill it up? I have an uncle who actually he has a coffee pot sized travel mug, and he like if he goes to his nieces and nephews and grandkids' baseball games and stuff, he'll pour a pot of coffee into this mug.
I knew a guy once that had that. You can. I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to get them at Speedway.
It might have been a Speedway mug. Might have been. But what about? I got another one. Maybe one or two to round it out here to finish off because I just keep not only coming up with names as we talk, but I've written a few down. Jay Chandrasekhar.
Help me with that.
Okay,
I know that name.
That is the guy from Super Troopers. I'm trying to remember his name.
Which one?
He's Indian, and they always try to figure out what his nationality is.
Okay, yeah. Ramathorpe.
Yes, Ramathorpe. So
yeah.
He's another guy who would be like way comedic, maybe not psychotic enough because I haven't seen enough of his work. But I don't know. I just throwing names out there. And to be honest with you, not to be like, oh, well, it has to be Indian. I started thinking about the original character Beetlejuice getting away from like Michael Keaton style. The original Beetlejuice was written as like a demon, and he was, I think, of Indian descent. So I started thinking about like Indian actors that could play, and I thought about Ben Kingsley, who was the terrorist guy in Iron Man 3, but Gandhi. Okay, so you feel me there. So there's some actors there that could be all right, but like stacking them next to Willem Dafoe and Paul Rudd and Alan Tudyk and Peter Dinklage, it just seemed kind of silly.
Absolutely. I have one last one.
All right, go ahead.
And again, this has potential to not be one of my better ideas, but it's an idea nonetheless. Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis? I could see it. He's definitely got the comedic side down. I don't know about the psychotic side.
No, I don't either. But like I said, it was an off-the-cuff, last-minute idea. I didn't say it was good. I just said it was an idea.
Like, to me, that it's funny you mentioned him as your last idea, because my last idea was Aziz Ansari.
That's interesting.
And again, I was thinking about Indian actors who could play, because like when I'm working on right now, for those of you who are finding this because you've listened to the horror history videos, I'm working on a Child's Play video, and I went back and I looked at the original story that Child's Play was based on, and the reboot that you and I went and watched is closer to that in some ways.
Really?
Yeah, than the Child's Play that we saw. In some ways, thematically, some of the things they go into with technology, and it kind of wraps. It's not intentional. In some ways, it is. Some ways, it's not. So I went back to the original story of Beetlejuice, and it was like this Indian demon, and I thought of a guy like Aziz Ansari, who is very, very funny. I just don't know if he has the chops to pull off a role like Beetlejuice.
Yes, I can see that.
All right, man. So, amongst others, you had Christian Bale, Harvey Keitel, Macaulay Culkin, Jonathan Banks, Paul Rubens, Patrick Warburton, Jim Carrey, and Roseanne, which I would have to say Macaulay Culkin and Roseanne may be two of the top of that list. Not a bad list of a cast of characters to take over. See, that's the thing, is people immediately they're like, "Oh, you can't replace Michael Keaton." It's like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You just got to find the right mix.
Completely quasi-related side note. Did you see The Founder?
No, the story of Roy Kroc.
See the Founder.
Michael Keaton, right?
Yeah, wonderful. You never realize how much of a gigantic,
asshole,
terrible human being.
Yeah,
Ray Kroc was.
Yeah, I've heard. I've heard. Don't know from experience, but I've heard. Yeah, and I've heard Michael Keaton's great in that role too.
He is. He's wonderful at it.
Did I ever tell you, since it's Halloween, for those of you boys and girls who've never been to a video store, there was these things back in the day where videos, you could go in and rent stuff. Do they still have video stores up where you're from?
Yeah, I've got a Family Video about a mile from here.
I was going to say, Family Video is one of the holdouts. And for those of you who don't know, we've talked about Detroit. I'm from Toledo. He's from north of Detroit. Right? North of Detroit?
Originally southern.
Okay. Either way, you're from the Detroit metro area. I'm from the Toledo area, which is about 50 minutes or so from Detroit. We still have like some weird video store holdouts, like Family Video. If you have a video store in your town and you want to have some fun this holiday season, there are two films called Jack Frost, and they're vastly different.
Yes, they are. Both of them are good, though.
Both are very good. One is a heartwarming film starring Michael Keaton, where he dies and comes back as a snowman so he can hang out with his kid. The other one is about a murderous snowman. And I wouldn't suggest you do this, but it may be fun if someone would happen to switch the discs at your local video store. You might have some fun there, and also scar some young children for life. So maybe don't do that.
That's hilarious.
Either way, I'd say that wraps it up, man.
Absolutely. I'd say that's a good list.
How are we going to top that next week?
I don't know how you're going to top that next week.
We'll have to figure it out, and you'll have to tune in to find out.
I'll remind you of things when we're off the air.
Okay. Well, I know we got a list and that grows by the day. Again, hopefully we can narrow this shit down to where we could do a wrestling version of this podcast too, because I think you and I could really get into that.
Absolutely.
Unless you have another hour and a half.
No.
Sorry.
Now that I moved, it takes me a little less than that to get to work in the morning.
Oh, that sucks.
So.
All right, man. Hey, my name is Brian J. Well, B-Show Brian.
Benny Slash.
This is Horror Reanimated. Again, you can find us on Twitter, Benny_Slash and B-Show Brian. You can find us on Instagram at Benny/777 and B-Show Brian. You can let us know if you have suggestions for stuff you want to hear about, good fan fiction we should check out. Have you ever watched Never Hike Alone?
I've heard of it, but I don't believe I've seen it.
Dude, you got to see it. There's a lot of bad fan fiction that's out there. Never Hike Alone is pretty cool, and there's a cool cameo toward the end if you're familiar with the Friday the 13th series.
I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. So, but yeah, so we'll bring you some fan fiction. If you have anything you want us to check out and talk about on the show, Brian or bshowbrian@gmail.com, or find us on social media. Again, happy fucking Halloween. I'm Brian, B-Show Brian, whatever my name is. Doesn't matter. Not important. He's Benny Slash. Used to be Mr. Positive, and why do I do that to myself? I get past it. I remember your Benny Slash, and I still bring it up.
You called me Sheldon at some point at the top of the show.
Did I?
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Did I call you Sheldon?
You either called me Sheldon or you called me... I believe you actually said you can follow Mr. Positive on Twitter at Benny_Slash.
I have just one more drink of scotch before I edit this and go to bed. But... also, check out Horror History, the rest of the channel. I should have a Child's Play episode up probably by the end of the night because I might do a live one just to see what happens if I can get my microphone to work. But, hey, man, go get some sleep and enjoy the Halloween season.
Absolutely, you as well.
All right, everybody, much love, and we'll see you next week.